Did I break a sweat making a TikTok? Specifically a book talk video. Yeah, I did. Peep the shirt. I should probably have one of my Halloween mugs, but we're working with the shark one for now. Sup nerds, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maddie if you're new here. I hope your day is going well, and if it's not, watch this video. Maybe you'll have a better day. I don't know. Take it up with my lawyer. So I thought I would actually get back to basics and start doing some more traditional booktube content, which is a change from my no content at all type of schedule. And I thought I'd do something a little easy, a little bit fun, a little bit spooky, because it is spooky season, as we all know. And I am very excited to just go over some books with you guys. They're gonna go from kind of spooky, atmospheric to, oh my fucking god, this will give you nightmares and probably scar you for life. So know that going into it. I don't know if I'm gonna do like a rating scale on this of like 1 to 2 spookiness or 1 to 5 spookiness, but let's just go ahead and get into the books, shall we? You guys tell I don't like intros that go on too long because I feel like mine are like blah, 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 blah. Let's get into the books. So starting with, we have Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy. This is one of my favorite middle grade books, and I haven't read on in the series, though I really did want to. This is an adorable middle grade story about a little girl named Stephanie who on one stormy night, she opens the door and on her doorstep is this detective, Skullduggery Pleasant. He is a skeleton. He wears a trench coat and he is hilarious. I highly recommend this. It's not like scary. It's very much made for a younger audience, but it is really fun and I am excited to read more on in the series. If anyone will urge me to read these, like a readathon or something, I would love to do that because I haven't really felt the desire or the need to do much reading unless I am reading for like a readathon or a group thing. So if someone could, you know, light a fire under my ass, kind of like this guy, that would be helpful. So if you like mysteries, if you like skeletons, I would recommend this. Pretty safe to say that that's a pretty good recommendation, right? Let's get going. I don't know why I did that. All right, and then we sharply move into the YA category, and that is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I'm pretty sure I've recommended this before. This is an absolutely fantastic novel following a trans boy named Yadriel as he struggles with basically his family accepting him, and by a chance of unfortunate events, he accidentally summons a ghost who is not the person he's looking for, but is a bad boy, and then there's this mystery going around, and it's spooky, and it's amazing, and he's a brujo, and this cover, I will never get over this cover. It just won't happen. I need more people to read this. It is very hyped. I'm sure you've heard of it if you've been on BookTube for like even half a second, but if you haven't read this, you need to get on it. I feel like that's gonna be all of my recommendations because I didn't really go over the synopsis of these before I started the video. It's got like a 2 on the spookiness level. So we are already getting into it because I do like myself some spooky shit. So let's keep going, shall we? All right, and now we are moving into a more adult category already, just because I have not been reading YA at all this year. It's just been entirely disappointing for me. And we're moving on to Atlas 6. This is by Olivia Blake, and this was popping off on all of the social medias, and it is kind of a magical school situation where we have 6 very talented magicians, for lack of a better word. This definitely has like the Magicians feel, like if you've watched that show or read those books. They are selected to protect the Library of Alexandria, and you may know that that library did go up into flames back in the ye day, but in this book it is basically saved by a secret society, and they go into these this fellowship, for lack of a better word, to make sure that they can protect this society and the library and all of this knowledge that has been kept there over generations. And there's a catch that, you know, somebody might perchance bite it. So if you're looking for something kind of spooky, dark academia, I would recommend this. It's more atmospheric than anything scary, but I really wanted to put it on this list because I think the cover is amazing, which is probably most of my reasons for why I selected these books, not gonna lie. But I did also like them. Like this one, it didn't like wow me as much as I wanted it to, but I would recommend it because it does fit the academic kind of spooky atmosphere vibe that you might be looking for, and you might not have heard of it. There might be a chance you haven't heard of this. I have a wrap up coming soon. I don't know which video is going up first, so if the wrap up's already up, you can watch it. That's where my review will actually be, where I'll go into more depth on that book. And the next book that we have is For the Wolf, whose author I didn't write down. That's nice. This is For the Wolf by Hannah Winton. I really liked this. Now, I thought it was really interesting that when I went to go mark it on my Goodreads, all of the people on there were like, this book fucking sucked. And I'm like, I gave it 5 stars. This is basically like a Little Red Riding Hood, Beauty and the Beast retelling in a vaguely dystopian medieval setting. I really, really enjoyed it. We follow Red, who is a second princess, and in this world, if you're a second born princess, you get given to a forest, basically. Like there's this prophecy that if you don't give the second born princess to the forest, these dead kings will come back or not come back, or no, yeah, if they give the princess to the forest will give them back, or the beast basically will give them back, the wolf, whatever, the kings. You can tell that my reading retention is great right now. I really, really like this specifically because the spooky fucking forest was so creepy. So creepy. I loved the way that this was written. I know some people obviously didn't like the way it was written. I enjoyed it. I also really enjoyed the romance. It's very similar to like A Court of Thorns and Roses, like the early days of Tamlin and Feyre. I know that a lot of people might not like the main character because she can be a little bit of a dumb bitch, but I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I really liked that we had a really strong sister bond between the older princess who becomes queen and the younger princess. Really, really loved that. Loved the setting, as I said. I really enjoyed the side characters. I think it would be a great addition to fall. It is not that scary. And if you're looking for a fantasy romance, right here, it's good. You should check it out. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Speaking about romance, but in a different vein, we have Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. This book is meaty. It is quite long. So basically, this tells a story in like 2 different timelines, basically. We have a story set in the past at this school where a lot of girls are dying, basically. And then we follow another timeline in present day, or like maybe 2014 or something like that. Where a book has been written about the girls in the school and it's being adapted for television, and we're actually following the author of the book and 2 stars in the movie, which is fantastic. I really liked that kind of setup. This has some dark academia vibes, but mostly it's just incredibly sapphic. I don't think you can see a straight man the entire time when you're reading this book, which was kind of good. You might like that. I liked it. I enjoyed it. This definitely does have a little bit more of a spooky, scary factor. There's some creepy shit with some bees. I'm not gonna lie. If you don't like bugs, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this book. But I will say that considering that this is longer, it definitely loses a little bit of steam towards the end of the book, especially on the scary front. So if you're not really someone who wants to be terrified, you might find this a little bit on the slower side. So, or if you do want to be terrified. If you don't want to be terrified, I would recommend this, especially because it's gay. Sorry, my memory card ran out of space, so we're starting again, but we're just gonna move on because I don't remember where I ended with the last book. So moving on, we're gonna get more into like the scarier kind of vein now. We have The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. I just read this, thoroughly enjoyed it. Is it a little long? Yes, and I don't know if it's just me. I've definitely used to love really long books, but now I'm just like, get to the fucking point, please. This book I will recommend though, specifically for people that like the show Loki, because this book convinced me that I'm a variant in my own life. So there is a family in this book made up of a mom whose name is Maddie and a dude whose name is Nate, which is my twin's name, which is another reason why I think that this is definitely, like, I'm in a parallel universe I don't like it at all. And they have a kid whose name I can't remember right now because it's not anybody's name in my life, so it's fine. Even though he's kind of like the main part of the story. So basically they move into this old house and weird shit starts happening. And obviously it has something to do with things that might not be part of our universe. I'm not going to give you any more details than that because I do think that people should go into this blind if they are really interested in reading it. I would recommend this specifically because the way that it's written is really well done. I was grounded with these characters, I cared for them the second that they were introduced, and it became really interesting to me to try and figure out what the fuck was going on. When you start this book, you kind of think that it's just like a normal, spooky, scary haunted house story, and then it just gets more than that. And it keeps getting more than that. More things are introduced and things are so fucking weird, and each individual character has their own story about what's going on, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I really loved the way that Chuck Wendig went about kind of exploring how poorly people empathize nowadays, and I really enjoyed how one character feels so much for everyone in the world, and that can come off as something that isn't very strong, but it really is incredibly strong. I would really recommend this, specifically based on the fact that it was incredibly touching at times, and I find that when you're able to craft a horror novel that is scary but also incredibly poignant, I really am impressed by that. I was also impressed by the fact that I believe that I exist in this universe or multiple universe situation, and it's not comfy for me. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
And moving on from that incredibly uncomfortable thought process, I'm going to go on to The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I have recommended this so much on my channel, I'm pretty sure. I read this last year and thoroughly enjoyed it. I would recommend this if you like... What's that one movie with the cloaks? I don't know which movie I'm thinking of, but this is basically about a commune in a very cult-like situation. We have a puritanical sense, kind of like The Witch, but that's not the movie I was thinking about earlier. But we've got a puritanical situation where a main character is basically ostracized from the main town on the fact that her mother went into the woods. Me and woods, like, and forests and creepy shit that happen in the woods and forests. I don't know if it's because I'm from the Pacific Northwest or what, but I fucks with that shit. So her mother went into the woods and then came back and then had her and then died. And so everyone's kind of like, nah, your mom was a little weird. Like, we don't know what happened to her and we don't know you very well, so we're not gonna fuck with you. They don't really like bully her in the beginning of the book, but then things get kind of fucking weird when she goes into the woods and weird shit happens and more weird shit keeps happening, and it's written so well, and apparently there should be a sequel coming, which I didn't even know. I even tabbed this one up. I really enjoyed this. I did find that there are some aspects of it that people might not enjoy as much, because I did like the fact that it explores mother-daughter relationships and it has a romance in it, which I wasn't expecting and to like as much as I did, which I did enjoy. Did it need to be here? Probably not, but I thought it was well done. So there's that. It is also a little bit scary, so know that going into it. Not like super scary, but like scary. All right, now we're getting into the scary range. So at least for me, I don't know about you guys. And I don't honestly think a fall reading list could not be accompanied by Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I know some of you are like, bleh, right now. Like, I know some of you don't like this book. I know. I know that I am in the minority. Well, I'm not in the minority. Most people like this book. Some of the people that I just like, my friends are like, no, because Rachel, I know. But you cannot tell me that the vibe of this book isn't fall. It just vibes aggressively autumn. And I love it. I love it so much. This follows, what is her name? Alex? There's a lot of Alexes. Yeah, Alex. It follows Alex, who's a drug addict, and she gets a full ride to Yale to be part of their secret police for the secret societies at Yale, which is cool. But plot twist, she can also see ghosts, and they kind of fucking suck. And that is why I always will say that this book is scarier, because there are elements in this book that make it adult and not young adult. And I know some people think that it's kind of gratuitous to have some of those scenes, but like, this is a horror novel. This is not a YA novel. Those scenes are in there specifically because the genre does use graphic scenes to implement the terror that you're supposed to feel while reading this book. Like, here's the thing. I know that this book has flaws. Like, I made a whole video specifically starting it off with that. I think this is gender flipped Darkling Alina AU at Yale. Like, I know this is not everyone's cup of tea, but if you're looking for a dark academia ghost horror novel that is kind of scary, but like not too scary, it's a little graphic, but it's like, it'll get you there, I would recommend this, okay? I like that I'm like defending each of the books that I'm putting on my list. I'm pushing these books on you, okay? I want you to read them and I want you to love them. And if you don't love them, then you can, fine, whatever. I'm not mad. I'm serious. Maybe a little bit. No, I'm fine. Sure. Okay, so the next book that we're gonna talk about is number 9. It's House of Leaves. This is not the scariest book I've ever read, and I don't actually think it's all that scary, to be real with you, but I will put it at number 9 because a lot of people do find this scary. So this book is really, really well known. It's like 20 years old, and it does some cool shit with the storytelling and the format. It follows a guy whose like neighbor dies, and he finds this box of papers, and the box of papers detail a film that follows a family that moved into a house. Are you following with me? Into a house that has some sort of like black hole thing in it that's not good. And this man who found the box, who found the thing, blah, 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 basically goes completely insane while reading this information about this movie. And I really enjoyed this. I would honestly love for it to be adapted to film. I know people find this incredibly scary, and I think that for me, I was just taken out of the reading experience a few times just because of how this book specifically treats women. But I do think that this is, if you're gonna read any book that's like hefty, almost hit myself in the face, I would say that this is definitely one that if you're looking for a good scare, good spookiness, you should definitely have this on your reading list. Like, it's like required reading to, like, you know, it's not, I wouldn't necessarily say it's horror specifically, but, well, it is. No, it is. It definitely is. It's just not like kind of attributed as that because it's so unique in and of itself, so. Yeah. You might be thinking, Maddie, that's number 9. What could possibly be scarier than House of Leaves? Well, my friends, that would be The Troop by Nick Cutter. If you haven't heard of this book, this is traditional horror, and it is fucking terrifying. So if you've gotten to the end of this video and haven't clicked off because you don't like scary shit, you can probably leave now because this is not gonna be your cup of tea, like at all. No thank you. This book follows a group of like Boy Scouts when they go to a little island and then find a dead body that's infected with something. And I'm not going to tell you what's infected by, but it's gross. It's real gross. I have never had the actual visceral feeling of like skin crawling until I read this book. It was, oh my God, it was so gross. And if you want nightmares, read this. I'm so excited to read more Nick Cutter, but oh my God, I had to wait. I don't know when I read this. It was sometime last year, and oh my dear Lord, it still freaks me out to this day. So please bear that in mind before going into it. It is absolutely fucking terrifying, and I think I cried on a couple occasions because it was so gross. Shoo! I'm not gonna give you more information other than that. All right, so if you got to the end of the video, please leave like a black heart or just a heart of any kind down below in the comments. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know why I'm getting like so sappy because like maybe it's because I just don't make sit down videos anymore. I'm just really excited to be back and doing cool spooky shit with you guys. Oh no, guys. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Bye. It's also a little heavy. Alex. Is that what it's called? Fear of the Witching by Alex. I'm gonna start that over. Holy fuck, it's so heavy.